very happy to announce this month's new subscribers.
As much as we love video games, we also love that little piece of eye candy that comes with it that we like to call the box art. Unfortunately, sometimes we come across that really horrible, appalling, barfy, crappy, disgusting, embarrassing, I have no more letters, piece of box art that is just plain awful. Here are our top 5.
Rambo for the NES. Although the cover is not that bad because it's actually a photo from the movie. The thing is why I actually put this on the top 5 worst cover arts, because it is a lie. You see here John Rambo with his gun in his hand shooting away. The thing is that you do not do that in the game. Instead you fight against snakes, bees and all that kind of stuff, which the cover art is actually a lie. In the number 4 spot, it has to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first game on the NES. The first thing is that this game is pretty awful by itself. So the cover art actually looks good, but I really wanted to put it as a worst cover art because look at the turtles. They are all in red. Okay, they're supposed to have different colors: purple, yellow, blue and red. In this cover art they are all in red, and that is why this is one of the worst cover arts. Just like happened with Metal Gear, that has the cover using the picture from one of the actors from Aliens. This game actually used the face of Arnold Schwarzenegger, or as we like to call him, the Governator. Now, this is one of the worst pictures that I have found of Arnold. The painting is completely awful. The game is pretty good, but the box isn't. Vice Project Doom. The game is pretty awesome. It's really cool. You actually start the game in a car chase kind of stage that actually resembles a lot of Spy Hunter. But the box art, look at that box art. The painting, the people that actually painted this box art. Look at the face of the girl in this box art. She looks like she is terrified. She's been rescued by this man and she looks terrified. The box is completely awful. And of course, the most controversial box art ever, it has to be Mega Man. Even that the game is completely awesome. This is the birth of one of the most amazing franchises of all time. The American box art, or the North American box art, is one of the most horrendous box art ever. The guy on the box art doesn't even resemble Mega Man in any way, and it looks so freaking horrible. Actually, the box art of the Japanese version of Mega Man, Rockman, actually looks awesome because you are actually seeing Rockman, Mega Man. But in the North America, for some reason, they always change the name, but they have to change the beautiful box art because it may not appeal to the North American people. Instead, we get this piece of crap.
Okay guys, since we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the NES, I actually find that it was obvious for me to do a NES collectible. This is probably the oldest Mario figurine that I own, and it is a Super Mario Brothers Fire Mario figurine, which actually cost between $3 to $5 back in the day. I don't know if you can actually remember, but when the NES was very popular, you could actually go to Toys R Us, and when you go to the video game aisle, you will actually find the Nintendo aisle, which was called the World of Nintendo. You actually went to Toys R Us and you saw this big sign that says World of Nintendo, a sign that actually lit up and all this stuff. You can actually find beside of the games and some camera cases, controllers and all this stuff, you can actually find some cameras, you can find binoculars, radios, everything that has to be with Nintendo, Nintendo characters and all this stuff. And one of the things that I really liked was this. This is a Super Mario Brothers trophy. And I actually picked this one up because I already have a Fire Mario, and one of the trophies has Mario with a fireball in his hand. And as I already have one, so I'm gonna pick this one up instead. And I have to take, after so many years, I should have picked the one with the fire Mario, because it looks cooler than this one. I don't know if you can actually remember that I already said that I love pins. So back in the day, the same day that I got the trophy, I was able to get this pins. It's a 3-set Nintendo pins, which actually this one has Koopa Paratroopa. You can actually see it. It also has Bowser. And the funny thing this one is that it's not completely finished. It has some paint missing on the spikes on his back, some paint on his face and his hands. And for many years I actually thought this one was defective. And until recently I actually found on eBay, another guy was selling this one as well, and he has the same imperfections as mine. So I said, okay, so it came like that from the factory. But the main reason why I actually bought that set of pins is because of this. And this is my pride and joy. And it is a Legend of Zelda original logo. And I really love this one when I saw it, and I said, I'm gonna have it. So I bought it, and I have it ever since. Pretty pins. And another thing that I got is, they already saw it on this, I don't know if it actually it's called fanny pack, but it is these 2 patches that I have over here. I actually got this on Toys R Us as well. They actually come separately. It didn't come in sets. This one has Mario with a cushion on his hand and says, I saved the princess. And I have this one that says Nintendo Power. Why are the saw on this thing? Because this is the carrying case that I used for my Game Boy originally. I didn't have. You can actually find all of them on eBay. I know that the pins are on eBay and the trophy is on eBay. You can actually find more the Zelda editions instead than the Mario edition. So try to find them. Did you actually find them? Let me know. It would be cool to actually know. So let's continue with the show. As we all love video games, we always love to go to the arcades. One of the great stuff was able to go to that place and turn one of those quarters in and start playing those amazing games. But when those games started to be ported to home console, that was great. We can actually play video games for free. Now, not all the video games that were ported to the NES were very great, but we're going to give you a top 5 greatest arcade ports for the NES that we actually had played.
I love this game in the arcades, and I love it playing on the NES. Bad News is one of those awesome game ports. Even though that the graphics are not exactly as the arcade, the game translated to the NES to the 8-bit beautifully. The game is completely awesome. You actually get all the things that you get from the arcade, they are here. Bad News is one of the greatest arcade ports on the NES. For me, this is the best game on the Double Dragon series, Double Dragon 2. And let me tell you, the NES version of this game actually looks like a little bit alike to the arcade, but it's quite different in many ways. Why actually put this game in this top 5, since it's not a direct port? Because they actually make it better. The game plays better. The game is actually better than the arcade version. You have more moves and more devastating moves than the arcade. The game even moves better than the arcade, especially with that knee press move that you have in this game, which you actually can kill everybody with just one hit. Amazing. Double Dragon 2 for the NES. This game is one of the hardest, if not the hardest game ever made to the NES. The arcade game of Ghosts and Goblins is completely amazing. When the game was ported to the NES, you actually were porting all the glory and bliss of Ghosts and Goblins into it. The game looks awesome. The music is unbelievable. The graphics, even though it's 8-bit, they actually are very close to the arcade game. It looks awesome. The only problem is that the game is damn too hard, and you have to finish the game twice to be able to see the real ending of the game. And just to think about, you have to fight with those red gargoyles all over again, it makes me want to cry. But the game is completely awesome. That is why this is one of the greatest ports on the NES. When Contra made it to the arcades, it had it all: action, adventure, excitement, and you get all that on the NES port of this game. Contra was one of those games that everyone wanted for the NES. Even Super C is actually better than the arcade. But I have to tell you, Contra is one of the most amazing ports ever made, especially with the Konami code. Everyone wanted to play Contra. The game is completely beautiful on the NES. Even though the graphics are turned down because it's 8-bit, the game is completely awesome. That is why Contra is one of the greatest arcade ports on the NES. The first game was awful, but thank God this game was ported to the NES. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game ported to the NES, was dubbed as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. And the game is tremendous, is glorious. The thing that I was able to play this amazing game on the NES makes me freak out. The game is completely awesome. I really love this game. Changes, Nintendo always has done some changes, especially on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. In this one, you have 2 more stages that are not on the arcade, but it actually makes the game a little bit longer and it has more excitement to it. Those 2 new stages actually do not hurt the game at all. The graphics on the game are completely awesome for an 8-bit. They try to make the game as close as they can to the arcade, and it looks awesome. The only thing that I don't like on this version of the game is just 2 players co-op instead of 4. And I'm telling you, there were games on the NES that were 4 players, but because of the limitation of sprites on the screen, and you know that you get that slowdown, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has to be cut down to 2 players, and all those ads for Pizza Hut. So I don't understand. The movie was sponsored by Domino's and the game by Pizza Hut, so I don't know. But this is one of the greatest arcade ports ever on the NES.